Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Chicago Bulls Corner right here on YouTube.com. My name is Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio, and Chicago is now on the brink of elimination. They lose tonight by the final score of 106 to 101 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was game 5 of the Eastern Conference second round playoff series. There's really nothing else to say. It was a great game, to say the very least. Chicago jumped out to a humongous lead, jumped out to almost a 10-0 run to start the first quarter. Cleveland came clawing back to end the first quarter and to take the lead briefly, 25 to 24. In the second quarter, Cleveland started to establish a little bit of some dominance in the quarter. They won the second quarter 29 to 20 and thus had the lead at halftime by 10. Third quarter, basically, it kind of started getting out of hand for Chicago, and they kept it pretty neck and neck. Chicago won the quarter, but Cleveland was still in the lead. And at one point, it got so bad that Cleveland was up by 17 at one point in the fourth quarter. We're thinking, oh man, this is done. But then Chicago went on a run. They tried to claw back, try to get back in the game. At one point, it was a 24 to 7 run by the Bulls to try to claw back. They got it its closest 3 points, but some clutch free throws by Kyrie Irving towards the end of the game seals the deal for the Cavaliers, and they walk away and win this game. They win the pivotal game 5. So let's go right into the stats quickly, and then I'll toss it over to Anthony Florio. Just on pure stats alone, Chicago basically shot about 40% from the field. Once again, not a good night from the three-point. 7 of 25, 28%. 26 of 28 free throws at 92%. So they were basically very good, at the free throw line. Cleveland was near 50% the whole night. Shot 8 of 24 from three-point range. 18 of 25, not really good on free throws. Better. Chicago had it at that point. The rebounding was basically it was almost practically even. 41 to 40. Cleveland had the advantage. Offensive rebounds, same thing as well, practically even. The assist was practically even in this as well. The turnovers is actually remarkable. Cleveland committed 11 turnovers, Chicago only 8 turnovers. But the one stat that really was the biggest thing. If you remember in the last game, LeBron committed a whole bunch of turnovers. I think they said he had like 7 in one game. He committed 0 tonight. That's a major difference in the game, no doubt about it. Derrick Rose was also had a lot of turnovers in his game. He only committed 1 mistake for Chicago, to say the very least. The high men, let's go into the stats for Cleveland. LeBron James absolutely just went off tonight. 38 points, 14 of 24 shooting, 9 of 12 from the free throw line. Had 38 and 12, 6 assists in the game as well. I mean, it was an all-around game for LeBron James. Kyrie Irving had 25 points, did not show any of the wear of the injuries. I know he's been dealing with a foot injury. He looked really good today. Tristan Thompson had 12. Shumpert had 13. Timothy Mozgov, not really a good night shooting-wise. I mean, he was horrible. 0 for 7 from the field, only got 1 point off, and it was on a free throw. 6 rebounds in the game. So, I mean, he did all right. Dellavedova had 12 points in the game as well. As far as Chicago goes, Jimmy Butler was the high man at 29. Derrick Rose has 16 in the losing effort. Mike Dunleavy, I mean, he had a pretty decent game. 5 of 8 from shooting, 7 of 7 from free throws, 2 for 4 from the 3-point range. He had 19 points in the effort. Nico Mirotic had 10. Noah, I mean, you want to talk about Noah had almost a double double, had 10 points, 9 rebounds, but 4 turnovers. Man, he was definitely making mistakes left and right. Taj Gibson, you know, filling in for the injured Pau Gasol, only had 10 points in the game as well. And once again, Chicago in a familiar position, 3 games to 2. This time they're on the other end of it because now they have to win to force a game 7. If everybody remembers, they were in a situation where they had a chance to close out in the last series, and they put almost a double nickel on the Milwaukee Bucks. So Bulls fans, definitely maybe a tough time and a tough ride, but you know what? This team is resilient. They've been fighting this whole series long. You know, other than the game 2 debacle that they had, every game has been really tight down to the wire. Less than 10 points, actually less than 5 in almost every single other game except for the blowout with Cleveland in game 2. And plus, you're going back to the UC, you're going back to the United Center. I think Chicago will indeed be coming to play. And in my heart of hearts, I believe we will see a game 7 on Thursday on sat on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know just yet. I think it's Saturday or Sunday when game 7 will be played. So with that said, let's give it off to Anthony Florio. Tony, your thoughts about the game.
All right, I'm all set now. Yes, hello, friends. It's Anthony Florio here with you for this Bulls Corner, latest installment of the Bulls Corner. Good to be here. I'm not going to say I'm delighted to be here because, you know, it's following a loss, and you know how we are about that. But, yeah, another great game between 2 great teams. There's nothing left to say about that. I mean, if you're wondering when game 7 is, Fletch, it's actually Sunday. So think about this. If there is a game 7, we got double indemnity. I mean, not only do we have that, but that's all Sunday night's also payback. Remember that. That's also payback, dude. We could end up having a double indemnity that night. It's very possible. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for right now, our fellow Bulls brother Matt Ward, if you haven't read his Facebook, Fletch, lately, he's calling authority shenanigans again. Now, I don't know why he's calling authority shenanigans. I think you probably already shed some light on that, but because, you know, I was busy with some other things. But you already know what that's all about. We actually talked about one of those things, but no, I mean, I'm going to give credit where credit is due to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, I had them winning the series anyway, to be honest with you. I mean, and now that one went away from doing just that, and LeBron owns us, man. That's all there is to it. And you ran down the important stats here. So since you already did that, I'm just gonna base off of that, like I do with the Ranger Roundup, who I thought were the stars of the game and who I felt, like I always do. So of course, we start with the winners, of course, which was the Cleveland Cavaliers. Number one, who else is gonna be the number one guy except LeBron James with 38 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. And the big number, like you mentioned, Fletch, 0 turnovers. Do you have any idea how huge that is? That is absolutely humongous. I mean, I said he needed to control his turnovers. Boy, howdy, he did that. So I'm going to give the devil his due on that one. Well done. Your former Dookie, Kyrie Irving, 25 with 5 assists and a couple of rebounds. I mean, he had a solid game, and besides, he was the one who pretty much put this thing on ice. So you told me that. So Kyrie Irving, definitely another star of the game for Cleveland. Tristan Thompson, I mean, I got to give props to him. I mean, 12 points with 10 rebounds and 2 blocks. So definitely he had a big game tonight. But to me, the unsung hero was Amon Shumpert, man. I mean, 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Definitely the sleeper of the game. Definitely was Amon Shumpert, man. I mean, kudos to him. And then J.R. Smith, a solid game out of him, 12 with 3 rebounds and an assist. Dellavedova had 4 assists with 5 points, and Mozgov only had 1 point, but he had 6 rebounds though and a block. So yeah, as far as the overall shooting aspect goes, I mean, 51% for Cleveland, and well, actually, I should save that. Now I got to get to who I think were the best players on the losing side. Um, Normally, I would say it was Derrick Rose, but this time around, he goes to the back burner because I got to say Jimmy Butler. I felt he was our star tonight. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block shot in about 41 minutes. Great game from him. Derrick Rose, not far behind. He was the number 2 star for me. He had 16 to go with 9 rebounds and 7 assists and 3 steals and a block. So great game for Derrick Rose. Dunleavy, I thought he had a great game tonight, 19 with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Gibson, even before his little noggin diva moment there, he got ejected from the game tonight for a flagrant foul there. 10 and 5 rebounds and a block. Noah, solid game from him. 10 with 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal and a block. Mirotic, 10 with 2 rebounds and an assist. And and as I look around the stat lines here, nothing really else really stood out to me. But I will say this though, we're really missing Pau Gasol, man. I mean, that hamstring injury could not have come at a worse time for Chicago. I mean, if he hadn't been hurt, if he had been playing, I think the outcome of this game and the last game would have been drastically different. If I'm going to be honest with you, because he's almost a damn near guaranteed double-double, and we definitely missed the big man. There's no question about that. So that's how I feel about Chicago now. The overall numbers here. Cleveland 51% from the field, Chicago about 40. The 3-point shooting, slight edge to Cleveland. The free throw shooting, that was Chicago. They shot about 93%, whereas Cleveland was 72. The rebounding edge, 41-40 in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The turnovers, Cleveland had 11 turnovers, Chicago only had 8. And I got to admit, ever since that 26 turnover game, the Chicago Bulls have been very, very have done very well with the turnovers. They have big time controlled those turnovers. The turnovers have gone drastically down, and that's a very good thing, to be honest with you. And so I'm very pleased about that. And then Noah had a technical foul, Gibson had a flagrant, and then Taj Gibson had an ejection, unfortunately. Now, this series is not over, and I'm going to be honest with you. I would not be surprised if Chicago does come back to win Game 6 on Thursday. Maybe Game 7, but I'm not really optimistic about that one. But if Chicago does lose this series, Fletch, we're all going to have to look back at Game 4 as the turning point and wish that they had hustled a little more throughout that fourth quarter. The reason why they lost Game 4, one of the main reasons why they lost Game 4, a lot of people, all of the Bulls fans, including Matt Ward, I'm sure, are saying, "Oh, authority shenanigans, blah blah blah." No, the reason why Chicago lost Game 4, they took their foot off the gas. That's why. If they had just kept the foot on the gas, well, then the game on Thursday night, would have been even more exciting because we would have had the edge. But now the Cleveland Cavaliers 1 win away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since I believe 2009. When they went up against the Orlando Magic. And, Chicago's back's against the wall. Game 6, Thursday night in Chicago. Bulls have to bring it. They really have to bring it here. They got to play like they did in Games 3 and 4. And if they do that, then there's a very good chance we could end up going to a Game 7, which would be Sunday night, and making a double indemnity night because of our payback review as well. And Michael Fletcher, On the other side of the coin, when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs, I hate to say it, my man, but your worst nightmare has just become a reality. The Tampa Bay Lightning are in the Eastern Conference Finals. They have defeated the Montreal Canadiens. They finally put the Canadiens away 4-1. So the Tampa Bay Lightning are in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2011, when they gave Derek Ferrera and Michael Bullock's Boston Bruins so much more than they could handle. So that's who awaits either our New York Rangers or the Washington Capitals in the Eastern Conference Finals. So just wanted to share that as we get ready for our highly, and I do mean highly, anticipated Ranger roundup at this time tomorrow night. So those are my thoughts on the game. So Michael Fletcher, I don't know if you want to share your thoughts on the breaking news I just shared, or if you want to save that for tomorrow, it's fine. But either way, it's back to you.
Well, you know what? I think in the interest, because we're talking merely the NBA, I think what we should do is just save that for tomorrow night, and then we could actually preview the Eastern Conference Finals right then and there if the Rangers should win it. But if the Capitals do indeed end the Rangers season, then we should talk about Tampa and whoever that other team will be. So we'll save that for tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern Time right here on Braves Fan 95. But until then, we're going to sign off for the night, folks. Sorry, Bulls fans. Unfortunately, the Bulls lose by 5. It's now 3-2. Advantage Cleveland. Game 6, a must win. A win or go home game 6 for the Bulls Thursday night back at the United Center. Tip off at a little after 8 p.m. I'd say about 8:10, 8:15. But until then, for Anthony Floyo, I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Cousin Ham Pounds, we out. Good night. You've been watching the Bulls Corner, a part of the Strictly Sports family of networks, exclusively on YouTube.com. Have a good night, everybody.